There are stories so terrifying, so deeply unsettling that people refuse to speak of them. Stories of creatures lurking in the shadows, watching, waiting, guarding treasures that no human should ever try to claim. Some say these are just myths, legends created to keep the greedy away. But what if I told you? Some of these creatures may still exist? What if I told you that people have tried to take the gold, only to vanish without a trace? Tonight we reveal the top 10 mythical beasts believed to guard hidden treasures. But be warned, these legends have been whispered for centuries for a reason. Number 10. The Naga, the serpents that devour the greedy. In the dense, suffocating jungles of Southeast Asia, deep beneath temples long abandoned, something moves beneath the earth. The locals don't dare go near the ancient ruins, not because they fear collapse, but because they fear what lies beneath. The Naga, enormous serpent-like beings, are said to guard vast hoards of treasure buried in underground rivers, their glowing eyes the last thing a trespasser ever sees. At first, it seems like superstition, but then you hear the stories. Explorers who dared to enter forbidden caves, only to hear a sound so unnatural, so inhuman, that they ran before they could even see what it was. Strange, winding tunnels beneath old ruins that seem too smooth, as if something alive has been slithering through them. And then the disappearances. Next is even worse, because this one, it doesn't just kill, it watches. Number 9. The Griffin, the winged sentinel that hunts the brave. For centuries, gold miners have spoken of a strange phenomenon, treasures buried in mountains that no one ever seems to return from. But why? Some say it's the griffin, a beast with the body of a lion and the wings of an eagle, protecting hoards of gold so ancient that even the world's oldest kings dared not take them. The first thing people notice isn't the beast itself, it's the silence. No birds, no wind, nothing. Just an eerie, crushing quiet as they step closer to the treasure. And then, the shadows. A flicker in the sky, a massive shape ant moving just out of view. The last thing anyone hears? A gust of wind so strong it knocks them off their feet, followed by a scream that cuts off too quickly. Some people might dismiss these as mere legends. But then why? Why have bones been found at these sites? Picked clean, as if something powerful carried them high above the earth and let them drop. And why do local villagers refuse to even look at certain cliffs, swearing that when the sun sets just right, they still see something up there? Something with wings. Number 8. The Dragon of Ladon, the beast that never sleeps. Imagine walking into an ancient grove, untouched for thousands of years. In the center stands a lone tree, its branches twisted with age, bearing golden apples that shimmer even in the dimmest light. A treasure beyond imagination. And then you realize you're not alone. Ladon, the serpent dragon of legend, was said to coil itself around the sacred tree, guarding it with hundreds of eyes. Never closing, never blinking. But that's just a story, right? Then why, in remote areas of Europe, have people reported finding old circular scorch marks near ruins where Ladon was once worshipped? Why do some explorers describe an overwhelming sense of being watched? A feeling so strong it makes them turn back before they can reach the supposed treasure. Here's what's truly horrifying. Some say the dragon was slain long ago, but some villagers tell a different story. That Ladon was not killed, only buried. That the trembling of the earth beneath certain ancient ruins is not due to shifting ground, but due to something beneath trying to rise once more. Number 7. The Kappa, the water demon that steals the living. A river is supposed to be a place of peace, of life. But in certain areas of Japan, there are rivers no one dares swim in, because the water itself is said to grab people. At first, it sounds like folklore, a tale to scare children. But then you hear the accounts. Fishermen who feel something wrap around their ankles, pulling them down with a force no human could escape. Strange, human-shaped imprints left in the riverbed, even though no footprints lead in or out. The Kappa is said to be a reptilian creature lurking in rivers, guarding underwater temples filled with riches that no human has ever seen and lived to tell about. But what's disturbing isn't just the stories, it's the evidence. Scratch marks found on wooden boats, too deep to be from fish. Entire villages abandoning rivers they've relied on for centuries, saying they no longer trust the water. And the most horrifying of all? Survivors pulled from the water, mumbling in shock about a hand, cold, slimy, too strong to be human, gripping their skin and trying to pull them down. Number 6. The Camazots. The screaming horror of the caves. The ancient Mayans spoke of a god so terrifying, so hungry, that even mentioning its name was enough to send shivers down their spine. Camazots, the bat god, was said to lurk in deep, hidden caves, guarding treasures that no mortal should dare claim. Unlike other creatures, Camazots doesn't rely on brute force. It hunts in pure darkness, waiting until its prey is lost, terrified, stumbling in the pitch-black tunnels. What makes this story so unsettling is that the caves still exist. Explorers have gone in searching for gold, following maps that lead to the supposed treasure sites, but many of them never returned. And the ones who did, they came back with wild eyes talking about a sound, a noise so unnatural, so piercing, that it felt like it was drilling into their skulls. Some described the feeling of something huge moving above them, wings stretching wide, passing overhead. No one has ever confirmed what's inside those caves, but here's what's truly disturbing. Some of them reported finding scratch marks on the walls, deep and jagged, as if something with massive claws had been moving through the tunnels. The question is, were those marks old, or were they fresh? Number 5. The Basilisk. The death that comes with a glance. There are ruins in Europe so old, so crumbling, that even archaeologists refuse to explore them. Not because of structural danger, but because of the whispers. Legends of a creature that never moves, never chases, never even raises a claw, because it doesn't have to. One glance, just one, and you are gone. The basilisk, an ancient serpent-like beast, was said to guard treasure hidden beneath forgotten castles and deep underground tunnels. Unlike other monsters, it doesn't roar. It doesn't leave behind claw marks or bodies torn apart. Instead, the stories say it leaves statues. Human figures, frozen in place, expressions locked in sheer terror, standing in the very spots where they took their last breath. For centuries, people thought this was nothing more than myth. But then, explorers began discovering strange things. Deep inside abandoned ruins, unexplained imprints of bodies perfectly preserved, as if they had once been alive. Stone formations shaped like people, with details so perfect that even experts couldn't explain how they were created. Some dismissed them as sculptures, but others couldn't shake the feeling that these statues were too detailed, too real. And then there are the stories of modern-day treasure hunters, those who ventured into these ruins only to turn back at the last second, feeling an overwhelming sense of dread, as if something had been watching them. And when they tried to take pictures, the camera would glitch, warping the image, distorting their faces, as if they had already started to turn to stone. Number 4 is even worse, because this one doesn't just kill. It takes something from you. Number 4. The Wendigo, the cursed guardian of the frozen gold. The frozen wilderness of North America holds many secrets. Caves filled with gold, deep in the mountains untouched by human hands. And yet no one dares to claim them. Not because of the cold, but because of the thing that waits there. The Wendigo is no ordinary creature. It was once human, until it ate. The stories say that those who consume human flesh in the frozen wilds become something else, something that no longer belongs to this world. Their bodies stretch unnaturally tall, their skin tight against their bones, their hollow eyes filled with eternal hunger. But what makes the Wendigo so terrifying isn't just its appearance, it's the way it hunts. It doesn't chase its prey, it whispers to them. A voice, soft, familiar, calling their name, luring them deeper into the woods. And when they turn back, it's already behind them. Many have tried to find the gold said to be hidden in Wendigo territory. Some have even reached it, but none have made it out. The few who were found alive? Their minds were shattered, repeating the same words over and over. It was inside my head. It knew my name. But here's the real nightmare. Some of them never even went into the woods alone. They went with a friend, a partner, someone they trusted. And yet, when they were found, they were the only one left. The person they went in with? No body, no trace, just gone. Number 3 is even more chilling, because it doesn't kill you right away. Number 3, the jinn, the trickster. That guards the desert's riches beneath the burning sands of the Middle East. Treasures lie hidden. Cities lost to time, their gold untouched for thousands of years. But those who try to find it, they don't come back the same, if they come back at all. The jinn are not like other creatures. They are not beasts. They are something else. Something ancient. Something that doesn't need to attack because it can simply wait. The stories say that the jinn guard these treasures not with weapons but with illusions. They appear as shadows in the distance, whispering promises of untold riches. They lead people away, deeper into the desert, until they no longer know which way is real. Until they start seeing things that shouldn't be there. Until they no longer trust their own mind. And when they finally see the treasure, when they reach out to touch it, that's when they realize it was never there. But something else was. Something that was always watching them, waiting, smiling in the dark. And by the time they understand, it's already too late. Number 2, the Shaneke, the spirits that take your soul. Deep in the jungles of Mexico, ancient ruins remain untouched, not because they are unknown, but because no one dares go near them. The Shaneke, spirits of the earth, are said to protect them, punishing any who trespass. But their punishment isn't what you think. They don't kill. They steal something worse. Those who enter these sacred places and return tell horrifying stories. They describe feeling something brush against their skin, even when no one was there. They speak of hearing their own voice calling to them from somewhere deep inside the ruins. And then, they start to forget everything. Their own name, their family, their past. It doesn't happen all at once, but slowly, piece by piece, they begin to vanish. Not physically, but in a way far more terrifying. Their eyes grow blank, their speech slows, their soul begins to fade. And within days, they are nothing but an empty shell, as if whatever had touched them had taken something vital, something they could never get back. And here's the most terrifying part. Some explorers have tried to capture them on film, but when they check the footage, the person is there, standing, moving, but their face is missing. Number 1 is the most horrifying of all. Because this one, people still hear it calling. Number 1, the Black Shuck, the silent horror that leaves no trace. On the desolate moors of England, there are stretches of land where nothing grows, no trees, no birds, no sound, only silence. And when night falls, the legend begins. The Black Shuck is no ordinary creature. It does not hunt. It does not chase. It appears. A massive, shadowy dog with glowing red eyes standing perfectly still, watching. People who see it don't always die. Not right away. But within days, something happens. An accident. A disappearance. A sudden, unexplainable death. And the worst part? They all describe the same thing before it happened. A whisper. Not a growl. Not a roar. A whisper. Something brushing against their ear. Saying their name. And then, when they turn, the dog is gone. No one knows what the Black Shuck is guarding. Some say it's a treasure buried deep beneath the hills, hidden long ago by a forgotten king. Others say it's something worse, something that should never be uncovered. But whatever it is, those who go looking never return. And those who do, they don't speak of what they saw. Because sometimes at night, in the dark corners of their room, they still hear it whispering their name.